Hello, listeners. Hi, my name is Madhavi, and I'm so happy to have you on Upptalk. You have come to the right place if you want to learn about IT and do really cool things with your hands. We are not just another IT company when I say Upptalk. Think of us as your learning partner dedicated to helping you reach your full potential. We have top notch hands on courses to help you build your business, whether you are new to technology or want to move up in your current job. Let's look around this as our first step towards learning.
What do you mean by rule set? Rule sets are created by utilizing the attributes which we just created, the match columns which you just created. If I go into match rule set, there can be n number of rule sets posting, but at the time you can utilize only one. What do you mean by that? When we go ahead and use batches to go ahead and run batch jobs. Over here in the match, we need to select which rule set we want to utilize. And in match rule set, there are certain number of other things which needs to be keep in mind. One is match filter. What are the types of matches? There are two types. One is exact and the other one is fuzzy match rules. In exact, there are two types. One is segment matching and whole value. This is default. This is something you can go ahead and select, and in multiple cases. You will see that when there are types of matching, and segment matching is treated as a third type in multiple areas and multiple people. In the interview, they say there are three types of matching. One is exact, second is fuzzy, and third is segment matching. This is a common mistake which many people do. With segment matching, they have gone ahead and treated it as a separate matching type. It is not a separate matching type. It's a subtype of exact. Now we can go ahead. We'll just go ahead and create a name. And over here, we'll see certain other things, which is search level. Search level, remember this property 10 records. How the search level should be done. Typical means it will just go ahead and search in those 10 records, then move to next 10 records. It's a binary. Binary means you have 100 records. Basically, it will go ahead and put 10 different records in each batch. If there is any matches which are being done, those matches and the distinct record will be coming up from over here and over here. And then the output of these will be treated, and output of these will be treated, and then on and on. It will go ahead and do match. Then there is narrow. In narrow, it will just match 10, 10, 10, and that's it. It's done. In exhaustive and extreme. It will go ahead and do matches with this particular to all these and this to all these. If not, then it will take an extreme. It will be in a totally different way. It goes, these 10 records which are in batch, it will first match with a single record with all the 10 records. That is how they have written in the background. What type of search level you want to utilize with those tokens. Because token goes ahead and creates index for itself. Narrow just only will take all those tokens which are starting with same and it will get it done. The entire value, like 3 or 4 or 5, whatever will be exact, it will go ahead and match earlier. Standard will take its own time and how it will go ahead and go forward. Accordingly, the search level is being done. Now the search by rules. Whatever rules we are going ahead and creating, do you want the search of the records to be matched, done by those or rules? If you have 7 different rules or 4 different rules, those 4 different types of searching will be done. That is what is there. Now I stated a filter. Over here the filter and over here was also a filter. What is the difference between these two? Let's say you were being told that from your 100 records, around 50 records means to be going through with first match rule. Match rule means this match rule set. I'm not sure. 30 other with second match rule set. And somewhat around 60 with the third match rule set. Now I just added more number of records than 20. It may be considering these records also in this particular part. Filtering is a where condition where you want to see all those rule sets on which particular segment of records. A segment matching and a filter matching is almost the same. It segments the records according to where condition, the entire records. It only goes ahead and takes the token value in a segmented way. What match rule set is there for? Match rule sets will be going ahead and creating multiple rules according to the condition where we can state that the record is duplicate, which means all rules are set of conditions where we say that records are duplicate. Which means there can be one or n number of rules. Correct. Over here we are clear. And one rule set which is over here can comprise of multiple rules. Rule sets are combinations of all the rules / conditions. Which means one or n number of rules creates one rule set. Third thing is one rule set or one rule or condition, anything which you say it as. If NDM terminology, then we'll say one match rule. We'll use one or n number of match columns. Now, in that rule, it can be exact. Or and fuzzy comprises of exact columns. Plus fuzzy columns. It might be only fuzzy columns as well, but we always go ahead with one exact column. That our rule becomes much more. Or you can say it gives you more. First word, the threshold. Exact only comprises of exact columns. It can be 1 or n. If I'm stating over here both, that means it's 1 or n. Sorry about that. Till over here we are clear. We are clear till here. Second thing or the fourth thing is the rules which we are creating. We stated exact and present. Now when we create an exact rule, we have a facility of going with segment matching. Now, what do you mean by segment matching? Segment matching says, do you want to use the whole value for the token, or you want just a partial value? Over here, segment means value for that particular. Then we talked about filter. Filter means segment of records. With the rule set needs to be applied. Getting the difference between segment and a filter. I think segment would be basically on a particular column kind of thing. Segment is on a proper rule, not on rule, set on a rule. The filter is applied on a rule set. The rules means it will be only utilizing the exact attribute or attributes to take either the entire value or a segment of value. Whereas filter would create a segment of records where your match rule set will work. Which means you created one rule set for one source system, and this rule set should only work on CRAM. The other rule set should only be utilized for you are distinguishing between the records. You don't care about what token value we are selecting, but what we are doing. We are bifurcating between the records. What all records we will be utilizing for this match rule set. Clear difference between segment and filter. If I say segment, I will be only utilizing around 8% of the value. I will not take 100% of the value to match. And where we mostly do these things, where there are alphanumeric values and the numeric values which can be changed. This always in the start, not at the end, which means mostly it is utilized in products. Because type of a product is always first and then the value is generated for that. When you state this whole value or partial value is that the match percentile or not the exact value. I mean the exact token value. The token value till over here. We are good. Now another word which is threshold. Threshold is nothing but 8, where the percentage match is either up or down. According to that, we are saying that record duplicate needs to be merged automatically. Manually, or they are. This is what a threshold means. Let's say we have gone ahead and created our threshold as 95%. For auto merge, anything with a 95% match or will be treated as auto merge. The process will go exhaled and merge those records. If we say 85% and above, these two things, if we have gone ahead and said formal, that means what is the and it is between 85, 94.9%. Because if it reaches 95%, it will automatically go ahead and from the process. It when we have multiple and number of your one will be the default, which means when we will be going ahead and scheduling our jobs, we need to select all the modules which we have rule sets which we have created. All those rule sets can be for running these match rooms. We saw in our second vector, I think, we saw in batch viewer, we have match job. Those match jobs, we have to select the match rule set, which rule set it has to run. If you have multiple, then you will be going ahead and running all those match jobs with each rule set which you have defined. Otherwise, only one rule set will be running. These things we'll see. No issues in that. We are good over here. Last thing which I stated. What rule set? Yes, she'll go ahead. One will be default, you said. Like what will be default here? Like which rule set will be default here? Which will have? Let's say if I go ahead, you remember this bold aspect. We saw in the lens function also conditions. Remember, if we have to switch those defaults, we just go ahead and switch like this. That becomes my default rule. If you have multiple, that means it becomes one of them will be default. If you just have one, it is always a default. A default means it won't be having any rule set, or it will be having rule set. But you don't have to go ahead and set it in the batch job because a default is always selected. When we run a match job, just now I forgot what I was saying about rule sets. In rule set, we stated that columns will be utilized. From where these columns will be coming up. Only these column names, field names you are seeing now over here. Only those field names we will see, which means all the created match columns and match columns will be seen or visited. While creating the match rules, in rules we will need to have monoid, which means we will be shifting the row to top, which is most. Import. And later will be less priority. Which means if my first rule itself will go ahead and say that it's a duplicate, then my later rules will not run for those records. Which means if you have 10 rules and your first rule itself says that it's a duplicate, your 9 rules will never run. It will directly state that this is duplicate by this particular rule. That's it. Match rule sets is clear or not? We will be now seeing how we will be going ahead and doing all these things. Is it clear now? We will be going ahead and creating the rules. We created the rule set. It's just by adding over here and putting the name. That's how we create rule set. How we create rules, we will just see now. And how we will shift it to, if it's an auto or if it's a manual, how we will be going and putting it in a different zone. Or if I would say enabling or disabling the auto merge for that. We will see that now. Are we good? Basically, how can we go ahead and create a match rule just by adding over here? Now, what is the strategy we want to utilize? Do we want to utilize exact or do we want to utilize fuzzy? What is the strategy which we are trying to choose? We will go ahead and choose fuzzy, and we will use the exact column also, because in this only I wanted to state that what is needed. Match purpose. It's the algorithm which will then go ahead, use your token in a proper function to go ahead and match your records. Which means there are these many purposes. How would we know which particular purpose is utilized? All these are, you can say, a back-end functions. Address will be holding your address, part 1 country, city, postal code. Address, part 1 means your address line. Part 2 means city, country, state. And third is postal code, which is required. Organization. Your organization name and address is required. Division. A department name is utilized household. There would be person name, address, the complete address, telephone number, and all those things are required. In that kind of way, we have all these things in place. Whereas individual will have a person name, address, part 1 at least, and any exact attribute. What is the match level? Typical conservative on loops. Then acceptance limit. This is your threshold. Now this is something, if over here we are going with disable, then over here we will go ahead and create by using 0. If you are using it as 1 which is enabled, then we will set the acceptance limit according to what percentage we have chosen. You can see an individual needs, ID and necessity. All those things are there. Now this is a switch which I was talking about. And what purpose you will be utilizing, that has a complete list. For creating or for the jobs which we are utilizing. The match process. Type is fuzzy and we have auto merge as loop. How to flick that particular switch? First thing is, do you see a black line on the top? It's the distinguish between auto merge and manual merge. This is the auto merge and manual merge flick. Yes, and this is me. But when you will have more number of rules, then you first have to shift it till this black line, and then only you will be able to flip that switch. Let's say we go ahead and we say it won't be an exact, and we go over here. Now you will only see exact columns. We go ahead. This one. When we select this, your entire subsection over here will be segment matching. Matches all data. If you are allowing the segment matching and you want all the data to be enabled or not all the data to be enabled, this is for that particular purpose. Let's say this was down over here and now I have to just go ahead and use this rule set to be an auto merge. You can see over here I'm not able to do any flips. what I have to do. First, I have to move this thing up, then only I'll be able to make it as a yes. Let's say this was that. Now, this will be your need to go ahead and merge. First, you need to make it to the top. Then only you will be able to flip the switch. This is what it does. Are we clear with this one? We'll have a second tool set over here that I can showcase you. We'll just save it. Primary key match rule. I'll just showcase you what it means or what it gives us. It's a key combination and the auto merge will be yes or no. I have not created any staging table. That's why it's ready. We'll just go ahead, create staging tables. I'll be able to get from which particular source system. The primary keys from the source system are same. Then do I want to auto merge those records or not? If I say yes, then those records which will be coming in and they have exact same primary key. It will go ahead and merge those records. This is mostly utilized when you are seeing that your source system are storing the data. You need data with same primary keys. Any questions? If this is enabled, I mean which one will be happening first. I mean what we are defining in the match rules or what is there in this primary. This will go first because these match rule sets will not work until and unless we go ahead and run the match job. This will be triggered when data is loaded or we don't have to enable the match and merge rule. Correct. In the load process, because it does not require the tokens. Once these are being created and the tokens and your match rules are being done, then this comes into play. Over here, you will be seeing that how many records were there which has tokens generated for them. Tokens will be generated from character K to character C. the starting characters. Merge setting. Do you want to have distinct from this rule or with auto rule sets? Normally over here, we don't go ahead and do anything because these are distinct systems. If you want to go ahead and do not want the tables or the source systems to go ahead and merge together, if there is any other related things you want to go ahead and do or external, push that. These are certain number of things where you don't want to match the records or to merge the records. You can find the match, but you do not want the merge to happen. At that level, we go ahead and set these settings. And I have not seen in any project where they state that we want to find the match, but we don't want to merge them. Either they will go ahead and say that we want the duplicates to be merged from C-RAMA only and from SAP only. We always go ahead and create two different rule sets and run one after the other for all those things. That is a sum up of match and merge. The second thing which is left out, interest code. Its first name. You will see maximum trust and minimum trust. Now you can see CRAM and say source system. How much do you trust this particular attribute will be shifted over here? And a minimum trust is required. That later part of the time you can see the units and decay. In this much time, that trust level should go till what level? If you don't want it to be decayed, you just skip. At both places, you give the same values. Let's say if I have a 0 over here, then you will see a 92% to a 0% will be there in later part of the year. If I say 95, you can see that two levels. But at over here, somewhere over here, these will become similar. But if you do not want anything to be go down beyond a certain point, you will just state like this. After this much time, my CRAM will go. Now my admin source system, as I stated earlier, that if I have something as coexistence, then my this thing should be equal to or more than the highest. And this should be equal or more than the lowest of. From over here it should be highest, and from over here it should be exactly same or more with highest trust space. That it can relate the data which is being updated or manipulated from UI and the data which is coming from source system. There is a graph file which shows you if you want a slow initial and rapid later means you want to drop the trust score initially less and later on more. Or rapid in first and later on slower or in a linear phase. Offset is something. From when do you want to start this particular slow initial or the decrease in trust score? from which particular date. This is very useful when you know that the systems which you will be taking in are going to be our first systems, which are, let's say, those will be giving you the highest values or the best values possible. But within 6 months, that particular system will be sunsetted, which means there won't be any updates or anything which will be done. You go ahead, set a higher trust score and set a linear trust score, and accordingly you will utilize offset date. For other source systems, because that will go ahead and go down. Offset date, let's say if I'll go ahead and select this for August and see it when shifted. You see on which particular time your graph is going down, and you'll set offset date for that particular sources. With a higher trust value, this sunset part is something which you will see in a regular phase. Only part which we have to see is the questions which we have to ask to the customer are that once the system will be sunset and which system will take its place. But by that time, what all data you want to go ahead and I would say which. The source system, if there is no data or null data, or you want to go ahead and see what you have to do with that particular part. At that point of time, do you want to still use the null values? Do you want to go ahead and update the values from another source system, and accordingly we'll go ahead and set these things. Do any changes in trust score later part of the day when the system is already there in the production. And any changes over here, we need to go ahead and run our job, which is synchronized, which might end up in updating the values, how the values are being showcased to you at the current scenario. But if you go ahead and enable these trust code in a form, then you don't have to worry about the trust code to be changed later. It will take care of itself. But if you go ahead and change the trust code, then there might be certain number of records where there was no updates which was done from other system. But still the values will be changed for them because the trust value for those records will also get updated. In that case, in other words, let's say you are having two records in cross-reference. One from SEP, one from CRAM. The value from CRAMN for this particular record was X and this was Y. There was no update which was done for 6 months. 6 months, these records will exactly the same. If we have gone ahead and enabled this until the data is being updated from any source. The value in the base object will be still shown from CRAM system. But if we go ahead and update trust code after 6 months to showcase the SAPI data, and then we synchronize the records, because unless or until they go ahead and synchronize it, it will not let you load the data. Once you go ahead and do that, even if there was no update, now the value which will be updated over here will be Y, which is not correct. That is why we always try to set it over here for the first time itself. And that is the reason when we go in MDM, your NDMan can never go into pure Agile. If somebody says that they have went to an MDM with pure Agile methodology, I can bet that they don't understand what Agile means. Because MDM is one architecture where you have to design the base level configuration in the start. You can change multiple things, but you cannot go ahead and state that we need to change our match and merge rules. We cannot state that now we have to go ahead and change the trust code. We cannot say that these are the tables which we were utilizing. You can go ahead and delete the table section or delete numerous attributes. MDM architecture is always extendable, but it is never reduced. Baseline is never changed in MDM, it never changed. That is why, whenever we go ahead and analyze any new project, we always go ahead and do analysis of all those sources from which the MDM will be going ahead and taking part in. It can be happen that the customer will have 20 source systems which they want to embed in MDM. And they say that you start with 2 source systems and later they will be adding one after the other. But we need to see what all attributes are there in those source systems, that the model which we will be going ahead and deciding for MDM should not go ahead in major changes. Your end-to-end path is always clear MDM. Please do like, share, and subscribe to our channel. For more information, contact us sales@therightuptalk.com.